Hello everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you for joining me today. Today starts week 4 of the JJB Beads Summer Bead Blast. And this week we are focusing on well connected. So what does well connected mean? Well, it could be some wire wrapping. It's anything to connect. You're going to be connecting. And I'm going to do a couple of different projects, both earrings, with that same type of theory with being well connected. And we're going to connect some of these gorgeous little cha-cha tassels with some beads using some German style wire from Beadalon. And this is I'm going to be using some 20 gauge in gold. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple loop at the bottom. So I'm going to do a simple loop at the bottom, then add some gorgeous bead caps. I had some of these bead caps left over from, I believe it was a Beads by the Pound. But then we're going to use some beads and some of these daisy spacers from the Rose Violet. Let me grab the strand here. The Rose Violet strand. And so I still have tons of beads to use from this strand after doing this project. So the first thing we're going to do is we have our little cha-chas, and then I grabbed one of the large pearls, one of the rondelles, and one of the smaller pearls. And then I had these, I love these bead caps. I love their bead caps. They're so gorgeous. But I had some of these bead caps and they're almost like flat, but they're super, super cute and versatile. And then also going to use some of these daisy spacers that were included in that bead strand. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my wire. And again, I'm using some German style wire in 20 gauge. And I want to go ahead and get a nice flush cut on the end here before I start wrapping. Then also too, what I want to do is I want to, since I have a long strand and I want to minimize waste. I'm never going to reduce waste, but I want to minimize it. I'm going to go ahead and work from the strand and load my beads backwards. So I'm going to load my beads and components backwards. So I'm going to do the small pearl, one of the daisy spacers, one of the rondelles, one of the daisy spacers because I'm layering. I like to layer. Then we're going to put on one of the bead caps, the larger pearl, and then the bead cap for the bottom. Okay, and make sure you get it through that center hole. Then since I have it already turned on this end, I can just go ahead and let that drop to the bottom. And what I want to do is I want to do a round, just a simple loop on this end. And so I'm going to come a little bit shy of halfway and just go ahead and give that a little bit of a turn, trying to keep the mandrel in the same spot. Now, when I do that, I end up with like a P. So I have a P, but I want it to be centered. I want it to look more like a lollipop. And so we are going to just put the tippy tip of our round nose pliers at the bottom, give it a little bit of a turn, and there you have your centered area. And then I'm going to go ahead and just straighten that out. And what I like to do is before I do the wire wrapping, I do want to add this to the component, to my little tassel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's easier to add it now than once you have your beads on there, once you have it all tight with your wire wrap. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that up a little and then figure out what side I want to show. Show this side here. Then we're going to go ahead and just close that up nice and tightly. Okay, and then now we can just bring down our beads, and there we have. Now, I can see that it's just a little bit not straight, so I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit. There we go. All right, and now, so here's the front. And this loop down here is going front to back, but the loop up here, I need to go side to side so I can add my ear wire. So I'm going to go ahead now and go ahead and come a little bit off the tip because this is 20 gauge wire, so it's a little bit larger around. If you have a 22 gauge wire, you might want to come more closer to the tippy tip if you just want your 3 wraps. So I'm going to come about here, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a bend. So I have a 90-degree angle bend. Then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers and come in just a little bit off of the tip. Now again, on my round nose pliers, they're a little bit different than maybe what yours might look like. I have some longer round nose pliers that come out to here, and so being at the tippy tip of those round nose pliers, it gives me a little bit of a different loop. Now I'm going to go ahead and just turn that, and I'm going to go ahead and just push that to the back. And again, I want it to be centered. Then I'm going to come in with my my chain nose pliers and just put the tip over the loop, and then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it. And since I have a really long strand here, I'm just going to go ahead and use my fingers and then push that to the back. And that is good to go. And now all that I wasted was this amount here, and that was just to give it a flush cut. So not too bad. Okay, and then there we have our wrap loop. Then in the back here, I don't know if you can see it, but the tail is just sticking out a hair. So what I like to do is go ahead and put my bent chain nose pliers on there, and then with the tip of my chain nose pliers, just come in and tuck that in. Okay, then what we're gonna do is we'll go ahead and open up our ear wire. I love these angular ear wires. Okay, let's go ahead, and I can't remember where I got them from, but you can use any ear wire. And there we go. This is how we are connecting a cha-cha tassel to an earring component using some beads from the Rose Violet strand from Jessie James Beads. If this strand is still available, I will put a link in the description, as well as the tassels. If the tassels are not available, I know that they have other tassels that you can use for this, and I will see if I can link in some tassels that would match perfectly with this Rose Violet. Okay, so there is our first little project. Okay, I love to wire wrap. Wire wrapping is probably my favorite technique. So the next one we're going to do is we are going to use some quick links. These quick links are super fun to work with. They are solid. They're solid rings that have no opening. And so we are going to connect them using some jump rings. I'm also going to be using some beads from the Honolulu Blue Color Classics strand. At the very bottom here, these 4 little rondelles were at the end, and that's what I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be using a couple of head pins. These head pins are Beadalon head pins that I got from Jessie James Beads, and I'm going to use some flat head pins. And this is what the finished product looks like. What I did was I wire wrapped the 2 rondelles, and then I used 2 jump rings just to give it a little bit of a texture. And I used 2 jump rings with 1 up at the top to attach to my ear wire that I also got from Jessie James Beads. So this is what we're gonna do. Oh, and then I have my scraps from when I did them, because I can make jump rings or something with those. So the first thing I want to do is I want to wire wrap my little rondelles. So I'm going to go ahead and thread that on. And again, these are very sturdy, thick head pins. And also too, with these being glass, you don't want to break them. So I'm going to come off the tip just like I did with the other one. And I'm going to give it that 90-degree angle bend. And I don't want a large loop, so I'm just going to come just a hair off of the end here, maybe more than a hair, because we do need to get 2 jump rings through there. I'm going to go ahead and form that over the top barrel, and when you look at it, it looks like this. and you need to get this pointing out this direction. So I'm just gonna rotate my wrist and push it to the back. And when I do that, it looks a little wonky, but all you have to do is just rotate your wrist to get that nice and centered. Come in with my chain nose pliers, and you can use your fingers, but for a head pin, I like to use my chain nose pliers, especially with a nice thick head pin. And I just feel like I can guide it a little bit better. Okay, and then let's go ahead and come in this way. Give that a little bit of a trim. Then I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers, and I'm going to tuck in that little tail. Now just be very careful because you are working with a glass bead. And I can already tell that that looks just a little off-centered. And the way I handle that is I just go ahead and add my round nose pliers, and then I just kind of just very slightly give it a little bit of a turn. And when I do that, I can center that up. Okay, let's go ahead and do this last one here, and then we'll start assembling. Again, I'm going to come in off the tip of my chain nose pliers, give it that 90-degree angle bend. Come in a little bit off the tip so that I have room to add my 2 jump rings. Go ahead and push that to the back, and then get that all nice and centered up. I'm going to come in with the tip of my chain nose pliers over that loop, and then I'm going to come in and give it 3 nice, tight, and steady wraps. I have snapped a head pin before by going all the way around at one time. I believe it might have been just a thinner head pin. But yeah, I snapped it thinking, oh, I'll be all quick. Speed does not equate to accuracy. I say that in my day job, and I will say it here too. All right, so now we have those. This one's gonna go in here. This one's gonna go in here. We're going to have 2 jump rings, and it's going to attach this to the quick link to this quick link. So let's go ahead and open up our jump ring. And these, I believe, are 5 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to open up the jump ring. I'm going to thread on my bead, my quick link, and my second quick link. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that up. Okay, and you can hear it lock in place. Then I'm going to take my second jump ring, find where the split is. I'm going to open that up, and then I'm going to do the same thing. And it gets a little tricky. It just gets a little tricky when you're doing this with the 2 jump rings. But I'm going to go ahead and thread the jump ring through the quick link and then onto the other side, and just make sure that you're keeping your jump rings in order and that they're not crisscrossing. Okay. All right, and then there's our first part. Then what we're going to do on this side is we are going to do the same thing, but instead of adding to another quick link, we are going to add our 3rd jump ring. So let's go ahead and grab, I want this to be in the front, and then grab and then put on a jump ring. You can open up the jump ring and add it too if you want to do that, because then you can add your ear wire at the same time, or you can just open up your ear wire, whatever works best for you. Okay, so now let's go ahead and come in and let's put that down for a second. Where's the front? Here's the front. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my jump ring, and I'm going to thread on to the component, the quick link, and then the jump ring up on the top, and go ahead and get that closed off. Okay, then what I'm going to do is open up my ear wire. I love these ear wires. I'll put a link to those in the description too. Then let's go ahead and find that second jump ring. I want to make sure that this is the front, and that's not. The front to me is where I start my wire wrap, and then the back is where I end it. And there we go. We have our second pair of earrings. In this one, we are connecting some quick links. And there we have it. I'll go ahead and give this, get some pictures of these two projects. And once I get the video edited, get it posted up on my YouTube channel. And so everybody can see how these were made. So be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up if you like it. And also to leave a comment. I love to see what everybody has to say. And I hope you enjoyed this little quick video making a couple pairs of earrings with the well-connected theme for this week with the Jessie James Beads Summer Bead Blast. Don't forget to check out the description below where I have upcoming events, which the latest or the next upcoming event is the summer camp. And I hope you can join us. Be sure to subscribe to the video to my channel so you don't miss out on any other videos. And until next time, have a good one.